Below the South China Sea lies an underwater mountain range with canyons so deep that no man or machine has ever explored them. Ships often disappear in those waters, and nobody knows why. During a heavy storm, Isla is on a ship, trying to fix something while arguing with John, who refuses to come out and help her. Suddenly, the screen glitches, and he loses access to the radar. Frustrated, he yells at mechanic Joey, who scolds him for always hitting the machines instead of treating them properly. The crew has been hired by Hanover, a man interested in transporting some cargo to a very specific spot in the middle of nowhere, but he hasn't told them why. Hanover is traveling with a team of mercenaries who clearly aren't used to the sea. Tay gets seasick, and everyone teases him when he pukes. An argument breaks out between Tay and Mamuli, and they threaten each other with their weapons before laughing it off. Curious, Joey sneaks into the cargo bay to open Hanover's boxes, and is shocked to discover torpedoes. The mercenaries catch him red-handed and start beating him up. Isla hears the commotion over the radio and convinces John to help. John shoots at a wall to make everyone stop, warning them that if they don't behave, they'll break the contract and he'll end the mission. Hanover reminds him that not asking questions is part of the deal. When the mercenaries keep hitting Joey, John punches one of them in return. The mercenaries immediately draw their guns and put a knife to Joey's throat, but Hanover orders them to let him go. As Isla tends to Joey's wounds, Hanover opens the boxes and arms his men. Mulligan activates the torpedoes. Meanwhile, a luxurious cruise ship sails through the same storm. Inside, the passengers are having the time of their lives. The ship's owner, Simon, gives a speech about his project and promises to make everyone's dreams come true. Trillian moves through the party and bumps into Captain Atherton, smoothly stealing his wallet. She steps outside to empty it, but gets creeped out by a strange noise coming from the sea. Later, she picks the lock on the security office, covers the camera with bubble gum, and uses Atherton's stolen card to access the vault. Inside, she finds priceless jewelry, but before she can escape, Simon and Atherton walk in and have their men arrest her. They've received a report exposing Trillian's criminal record, detailing her robberies, convictions, and the fact that she's wanted in 4 countries. With no holding cell on the ship, they lock Trillian in the storage room, unaware that she's managed to steal Simon's wallet. Alone, Trillian enjoys the fancy food and drinks stored there. In the control room, a mysterious person sneaks in, hacks into the computer, and swaps the data disks for their own. Moments after they leave, all the ship's systems fail, comms are lost, the radar malfunctions, and among the glitches, a sailor spots something massive approaching underwater. Suddenly, a violent impact shakes the cruise ship. Dozens of people fall. Outside, the ship loses one of its speedboats. Panic erupts as the passengers run through the corridors, trampling each other in terror. A woman hides in the bathroom and hears a strange noise in the walls, destroying the bathroom and killing her in a horrifying way. Back on John's ship, he sees the mercenaries drilling holes in the bow to install a torpedo launcher. The radar still glitches but detects something floating. It's the lost speedboat. Before John can react, his ship crashes into it, triggering a massive explosion that severely damages multiple sections, including the engine. Using her binoculars, Isla spots the nearby cruise ship, and John suggests they ask for fuel. Suddenly, the mercenaries surround the crew with their guns. Hanover declares that they're in charge now. Their real plan was to rob the cruise ship and destroy John's vessel with torpedoes afterward to eliminate the evidence. Joey and John are taken along as hostages, while Isla is left behind with Billy. Once inside, the mercenaries find a total disaster. The ship's power is out except for a few emergency lights, and, most unsettling of all, there isn't a single person in sight. Blood covers the walls, the elevator, and the floors. The lifeboats are still attached, meaning nobody escaped. The group then splits up to continue their mission. In the storage room, Trillian wakes up and hears strange noises in the pipes. When she can't unlock the door, she tears out the cables, forcing it open and escaping. On the other ship, Isla is repairing the large hole caused by the crash when she's startled by something in the water. Horrified, she sees a floating body, and before she can react, something grabs her legs and drags her underwater. Inside the cruise's mechanical room, John and Joey collect parts needed to fix their ship. Tay hears a strange noise and goes to investigate. After wandering the hall, he's startled by falling cables. Then, bubbles rise from the water, and before he can react, something attacks and kills him instantly. The others hear his scream, and the terrifying noise growing louder. In the main office, Trillian tries to access the vault again, but is caught by the rest of the group. Hanover grabs her by the neck, demanding answers, but she insists she knows nothing. A mercenary uses Simon's card to open the vault, only for an axe to strike him in the head. Simon and a few survivors had been hiding inside. The mercenaries open fire, killing most of them before realizing they were just civilians. Simon and Atherton manage to survive, and the mercenaries take them hostage. Moments later, Mamuli radios Hanover to report Tay's death. Suddenly, Mamuli is yanked underwater and smashed against pipes before being dragged into the darkness. Gruesome noises echo, he's dead. Joey rushes to grab the parts they need while John opens fire to clear a path. The two run down a corridor as something moves beneath the water, destroying the floor. They sprint to a door and slam it shut just in time. While everyone's distracted, Trillian bolts for the elevator, but eerie noises echo from the shaft. The doors open just as John and Joey rush in, stopping her from escaping. The sounds continue until the elevator stops at the main office, where the rest of the group gets in. The mercenaries still don't believe in monsters and accuse John of killing their men. Right before the elevator starts shaking and accelerating uncontrollably. They try to stop it, but the buttons are dead. The cables snap, and the elevator plummets. It crashes hard, the doors burst open, and everyone tumbles out. The corridor is splattered with blood and lined with skeletons covered in goo. Suddenly, the walls start to bend and the door begins to cave in, but it stops after a few seconds. The group holds their breath, hoping the creature leaves. But when a mercenary accidentally steps on a skull, the cracking noise enrages the monster. It slams the walls again. Hanover and John open fire as the group retreats, reaching another room and locking the door behind them, barely escaping alive. Meanwhile, back on the other ship, Billy searches for Isla and notices something strange in the water. Minutes later, the group reaches the maintenance room, which, unlike the rest of the ship, shows no signs of blood or damage. Simon and Atherton explain that they couldn't call for help because something interfered with the communication system. But John quickly concludes that Simon is behind it, realizing from his behavior that he and Hanover already know each other. It turns out Simon is deep in debt. He hired Hanover and his mercenaries to loot the cruise and blow it up afterward for the insurance money. His plan was to save the passengers using lifeboats, but the appearance of the monsters ruined everything. Furious, Atherton attacks Simon, and Hanover has to separate them. While everyone's distracted, Trillian quietly steals a gun. At that moment, Joey feels something drip onto his shoulder. When he looks up, he freezes in horror. Giant tentacles are crawling along the ceiling. He screams as John opens fire, spraying blood and goo everywhere. Horrified, the group runs while firing at the monstrous tentacles. Group splits up in panic. Trillian finds John and begs him to take her away in his ship, but a massive tentacle attacks, forcing her to run. John notices the tentacle has teeth, but no eyes. It reacts to every sound he makes. Just as it's about to grab him, Trillian returns, firing her gun and wounding the tentacle until it retreats. In another corridor, Simon finds Atherton trapped, his leg caught by a monster. Simon coldly refuses to help. Trillian and John arrive and try to pull Atherton free, but the creature is too strong and devours him alive. Simon then explains that, judging by their size and behavior, the tentacles belong to a mutated version of a worm known for sucking out its prey's bodily fluids and spitting out the skeletons. John announces that he's heading back to his ship, and everyone decides to follow him. Suddenly, the emergency lights go out, forcing them to rely on flashlights. Unfortunately, the only passage leading to the exit is completely flooded. John, Hanover, and Mulligan dive in to check if it's swimmable. While exploring, Mulligan discovers a severed arm and panics. John and Hanover drag him out when they reach the other end. At that moment, a monster appears behind the others, pounding on the steel door. Joey scrambles to close it. Terrified, Simon dives into the water to join the others. The door bursts open, and the creatures surge forward. The humans open fire, and Trillian's weapon recoil knocks her into the water. Joey soon runs out of bullets and jumps in as well. One last mercenary keeps shooting until the worm retreats, but as he follows the others, another one grabs him. Before dying, he activates a grenade, taking the creature down with him. The survivors regroup in the kitchen to discuss what to do next. Half of the group wants to return to John's ship, while the others prefer to wait in the kitchen, since there's plenty of food. Mulligan begins to lose his mind, and Hanover holds him at gunpoint. Suddenly, a worm appears behind Mulligan. Everyone bolts while Mulligan opens fire, but his stray bullets hit the stove, starting a fire that forces the worm to retreat into a vent. Mulligan mocks the creature, only for it to burst out behind him and swallow him whole. The rest of the team keeps searching for an exit, but the monsters keep blocking every door and breaking cables to trap them. Simon realizes the creatures are herding them toward the ship's bow. He tells the others how to get there, but secretly takes a different route. When the group enters the bow, they're horrified. Blood and skeletons are everywhere. Suddenly, the floor collapses, and a huge wave floods the area. John and Trillian run back through the corridor, only to find Simon closing a door on them. Meanwhile, Joey and Hanover are chased by more monsters. Hanover throws a grenade, slowing the creatures, but not stopping them. In desperation, he shoots Joey in the leg to use him as bait. Wounded, Joey crawls away and hides inside a dumbwaiter. The creatures follow Hanover instead. Later, in the casino room, Joey catches his breath, but suddenly Hanover appears, half devoured by a worm. Joey hands him a gun before running away. Hanover tries to shoot him, but misses. He then turns the gun on himself, only to realize he's out of bullets. Helpless, he's eaten alive. Outside, Simon sees that the cruise ship is sinking and spots an island nearby. John and Trillian also make it out. John rushes back to his own ship, while Trillian heads through a side entrance to find a motorboat. Inside John's ship, he reunites with Joey, and they form a plan to activate the torpedoes and set the ship on autopilot, sending it toward the monsters. As they work, Joey breaks down in tears, realizing Isla is dead. After several failed attempts, they finally get the systems running. The two say goodbye to their ship before escaping. Back on the cruise, Trillian finds the boat's keys, but Simon corners her. As he tries to take the keys, he slips on the wet floor, accidentally firing a flare, which gives her the chance to run. When Trillian takes too long, John orders Joey to stop the engines while he goes back to rescue her. Simon chases Trillian through the corridors, shooting more flares as she dodges them. After a long chase, Simon corners her again, but before he can kill her, John bursts through the door, firing his gun. Simon flees. Suddenly, the ship starts shaking, and an explosion rips through the walls. Massive tentacles burst through a hole, revealing the horrifying truth. Simon's theory was wrong. These aren't worms. They belong to an enormous, mutated octopus, so massive that it can send its tentacles through every corner of the ship at once. John and Trillian try to escape, but a tentacle wraps around John and lifts him up. The creature roars in his face, and John seizes the moment, shooting it in the eye. The tentacle drops him. He yells for Trillian to run to the cargo bay, while he goes back for Joey. When John returns to his ship, he finds goo and Joey's jacket, proof that his friend has been eaten. Grieving, John sets the autopilot and returns to the cruise, startling Trillian, who almost shoots him by mistake. Meanwhile, Simon manages to climb aboard John's ship, breaking his leg in the process. He drags himself to the control room and tries to override the autopilot, but fails. John and Trillian board a motorboat and try to leave, but the tentacles block their path. A chase erupts through the corridors as John keeps firing to slow the creature down. The monster cuts them off from another direction, so John shoots the elevator buttons to open it. They dash inside, and both sets of doors close, trapping the creature outside. Simon screams in terror as John's ship collides with the cruise, triggering a massive explosion that sends flames racing through every corridor. John and Trillian speed away on the motorboat, jumping free just as the ship is consumed by fire. A final explosion engulfs both ships, killing the monstrous octopus once and for all. By morning, John and Trillian reach the nearby island. The motorboat is dead, so they'll have to wait for help. They share a relieved kiss, until they hear something splashing in the water. It's Joey, alive and swimming toward them. The friends reunite joyfully, but their happiness doesn't last. From deep within the forest, a thunderous roar echoes. Something else is out there. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.